Uh, how was your boot camp experience?
Funny. I laughed a lot and got in trouble for laughing a lot of the time because they were like nerds and there were brown nosers, there were scared kids, there were every kind of kid you could imagine was there. And then we even had like some old men that were like 28 years old.
How, how'd you get through it? Just laughing or?
I just did what they told me, and I was easy. It wasn't even hard.
So which war did you serve in?
I served in the Desert Storm Gulf War.
Where did you go exactly?
I went to Kuwait and Saudi Arabia
What
for that.
what was it like when you first arrived?
Sad. All the women had been raped in Kuwait. Like every single one of them had been raped, and their family members. It was basically they were just trying to convey like what happened and how they were all traumatized. So the first thing I remember was like everyone saying like these guys raped this woman here and they raped that woman. A lot of rape. So I realized really quickly it's serious. It's not a joke.
What was your first job there?
To dig holes in the sand and reinforce them, and we also put some signal flags up to signal ships off the coast in the Gulf, Persian Gulf.
Huh. Did you see combat while you were there?
No.
Were there any casualties in your unit?
Yes. Right off the bat, there were.
What are some of your most memorable experiences?
This guy had just lost his eyesight because we were trying to drink cocoa. And we're not supposed to have like a fire because there was unexploded ordnance everywhere.
Yeah.
And we lit this little tiny fire to heat up our cocoa, and an Iraqi anti-aircraft round went off underneath the fire and blew this guy up.
Jeez.
So I was like drinking cocoa, and I turned my back, walked up, kind of climbed out of the bunker to take a piss, and I heard a loud thump. And then the guy was all jacked up. His face was all pancaked in.
Jeez. Let's see. How did you stay in touch with your family while you were there?
I didn't. I tried to write letters, but it took like 2 months before we could get a letter back. Like I'd write a letter, then it would take 2 months for me to get another letter. So there wasn't very much communication.
What was the food like?
Same as it is today, just salty, MREs. I ate a lot of Cheese Whiz on crackers, and I ate a lot of chicken a la king, and they had a really good cookie in the MREs that I ate. So I was always going between the Cheese Whiz and crackers and chicken a la king and the cookies. I skipped most of the other stuff.
Did you have plenty of supplies while you were out there? Or?
No, we had to actually do like a raid on an army outpost called Doha, and we drove in like we were delivering supplies, but we just actually grabbed a bunch of our supplies and drove off with them, and the army didn't know we stole their shit.
Did you feel pressure or stress while you were out there?
My testicles did, but other than that, not much. It was like you're just constantly trying to. It's like you're hot. You're tired of looking at sand, and then there'd be sandstorms, and you wear night vision goggles because it was that dark in the middle of the day. I don't think there was stress. I think there was just like weird kind of like foreign, getting used to being in a foreign environment.
Yep. Was there anything special you did for good luck or anything?
I smoked marijuana. We had hash. My buddy Scott from Santa Cruz, California, had picked up a bunch of hash, and he was dispersing it to all the guys that he thought were cool. And I was one of those lucky guys.
How did people entertain themselves?
They like to play cards, and there was a game where I forget how it was played, but you basically throw down a card, and whatever number, you had to do that many push-ups. And so between two guys, somebody's going to end up doing more push-ups than the other one and having to quit before the deck of cards is over.
All right.
So it was a lot of push-ups.
Did you have any entertainers there while you were in combat?
No.
No celebrities or anyone showed up?
Nobody.
What did you do when you were on leave?
We didn't have leave.
Where did you travel while in the service?
My first place was to 29 Palms, and then I went to Hawaii, then I went to Guam, then I went to Subic Bay, Philippines, then I did jungle survival school in QB Point, Philippines, then I went to Thailand and went up to Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and then down to Somalia and Kenya, and then to Diego Garcia, then to Australia, and then to Singapore.
Alrighty. Do you recall any particularly humorous or unusual event?
Yeah. I was in United Arab Emirates, and me and a guy named Jeremy from Sparks, Nevada, we wanted to find some foreign girls, like, because that's kind of it's like an area where there's a lot of European women, and so we ditched all our friends and got on a taxi cab to the other side of town where we suspected there might be women, and sure enough, we encountered two women from Finland, and we made out, and we got hickeys all over our neck, both of us. And we got their numbers, and we were told to meet them the next day at the same place. And so when we got back to the ship, it was late, and we woke up, and me and Jeremy were getting ready to go back out, and the guys noticed me and Jeremy had hickeys on our neck. And I said, they were like, how did you get hickeys on your neck? We didn't see no women out there. I was like, well, we didn't either, but, me and Jeremy just went gay on each other. We couldn't control ourselves. And all the guys, almost panicked because, it's illegal to be gay in the Marines. And plus, we're living really in close confines, and, we're the medics that they trust, we have to handle their, units and stuff when we check them for VD. And so these guys just turned white. The black guys, the Mexicans, everybody turned white. The whole birthing space went silent. And there was this air of horror, shock and awe and horror all at once. And then I said, no, I'm just joking. They wanted us to bring you guys down to this one bar over there on the other side of town. There's lots of women over there. And everybody was almost crying because they were so scared. And then they were so elated at the same time that we weren't gay.
What were some of the pranks that you or others would pull?
Normally, having people drink toilet water when they don't know it, or pee in a canteen, and you complain that your canteen water tastes like crap, and then they drink ours, and they just assume that that's the way the water tastes. They're drinking your piss.
Do you recall the day your service ended?
Oh gosh, yes.
Where
It was
were
terrible.
you? Where were you?
I was in Singapore, and I got rip roaring drunk with my buddies, and we were moshing. We were on top of a high-rise building, and we had fire extinguishers inside the swimming pool, propelling ourselves across the pool with them. And I got drunk. Then I got to the ship, and everybody was passed out. I couldn't find my stuff, and I had to take a psychiatric patient, several psychiatric patients, back to the United States because they were suicidal. And my orders were not to let them out of my sight because they wanted to kill themselves. But I wasn't allowed to tell the airline stewardesses or the airlines or anybody about this condition. It was all like black ops. Get these patients back to San Diego, to the United States, so they can get help. And our boat driver, when we got to the docks, the boat driver said, "You guys get out of here." It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I go, "Yeah, everybody got their airplane tickets?" And the boat driver and all the people said, "We don't have our tickets. They don't trust us with our tickets. They're with some guy back on the ship." And I was like, "What? Really?" And there was a drunk guy on the docks that had missed the last boat out to the ship. And he jumped in, and then the boat driver was a Navy SEAL, and he got mad, and he drove like an idiot, and he hit an oil containment boom halfway between the ship and the shore in Singapore. And it sheared off the drive of the boat, so the propeller and everything was ripped off. And the boat was damaged, so it was flooding. And then the guy went to use his radio, and the batteries were dead. And him and I decided to swim to the ship. And the ship was getting sucked into the Straits of Malacca. And so last thing I looked back, and I could see it was lightning all over the place, and I could see the suicidal patients all by themselves and the drunk guy all by himself, and they were trying to paddle the raft with an oar. And me and the SEAL swam to the ship and got help. And those suicidal patients thought that because of their suicidal tendencies, they had killed me and the Navy SEAL, because they didn't think that would make the swim, but we did. And because of that, those guys, when they got to San Diego, they were no longer suicidal. They had a guilt complex instead for all the, drama that they created.
Huh. What did you do in the days and weeks after you got out?
I was drunk.
Did you go back to work or back to school?
I went back to school. I actually painted a house in Menlo Park. A guy by the name of Paul Schumacher. I helped him paint his house.
Was your education supported by the GI Bill?
Yes, it was.
Did you make any close friendships while you were in the service?
Yes, I did.
Did you continue any of those relationships?
Yes, I still have. Just two of them two guys I talk to. That's Todd and a guy named Vince.
Did you join any veterans organizations?
No, I guess I did. I joined the Military Order of the Purple Heart. It's a for disabled veterans.
What did you go on to do as a career after the war?
I went to school to become a paleontologist.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war, or about the war, military in general? About the military in general?
Did my military experience make me think about the military in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dictatorship, but you can get away with a lot of shit in a dictatorship. I'll guarantee it.
Let's see here.
Excuse my language. I didn't mean to cuss.
Nah, it's no problem.